Back to the helicopter, that was my husband's idea. It was a last-minute thing. I'm a political reformer. I like to be called a political reformer. And I'm a serving senator. The fact that I'm suspended illegally does not remove my legitimacy as a senator. I remain a senator. And at every gathering, I owe my people a duty to educate them on politics and their expectation.
You said the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, allegedly, according to you, called Governor Ododo, called Yahaya Bello, but I mean, you were not there when these calls came, and those who say it is spurious as far as if you cannot have or lay evidence on the call log on the moment they call, and you were not in the room when the call was being placed.
You know, there's nothing that happens around the Senate that one does not get to know either immediately or the day after,
even
or
if they lie to you.
No, you have a way of verifying. I don't deal with just rumors. I make sure I verify. And I do have my primary sources. And the moment I got to know about it, it was actually about 10 p.m. So when Senator Asukwo drove him from Hilton Hotel to Godswill Akpabio's residence. And that's where the meeting held. And immediately after that, I called on the press. I'm not sure if I called you, but I know I spoke to the correspondent from about 3 newspapers, Guardian, Punch, and others. And I told her, even Premium Times, I think, and I was like, look, this is it. There's a plan to recall me. Why don't you put it out there? And they asked, where is the evidence? Of course, I didn't have any evidence, but it did happen. So shortly after, when the process started, they called on me. I said, oh, Senator Natasha, you actually told us. I was like, I did tell you. I wanted you to blow it up, because one thing about Nigeria is sometimes when you put out information and preempt them, they get to pull back. But again, what I'm going to say is, even though INEC did count 208 signatures, I bet you if they had gone into the second stage, or is it the third stage?
The verification stage.
The verification stage, they would have struggled to even have 500 people come out to attest to signing that.
Are you worried if those who are behind the petition go again and restart the process of the recall?
I'm not worried, Sean. I'm not worried, because I trust my people, and my people connect with me. They resonate with the idea that I project, and they're actually very happy with the manner in which I have represented them. They are very happy with me.
Natasha Akpoti to 2027 and beyond. It does look like you are very confident. And one of your associates said, if Yahaya Bello and Ododo are on the same ticket, Natasha Akpoti will beat them.
Yes, I will.
Is that the kind of confidence that you have?
Yes. I mean...
You're that popular?
Very popular, very popular. And I think one thing that works for me is I live my life every day as a senator, educating people and creating awareness in the minds of people who have lost hope in politics. So I'm beginning to have a new kind of followership that believes that leadership, the standard of leadership, can actually increase, and their participation could help shape in Nigeria's political space.
On the podium, you said that there were plans to kill you, and that the plan was not to kill you in Abuja, but to kill you right there in Kogi State. I'm very certain that you know the magnitude of that allegation, and you know what could become of that if it's not ironclad in evidence.
Shun, I'm glad you did affirm that I'm a lawyer. And even if I'm not a lawyer, I'm a sane individual. And I do stand by what I said. It was part of the meeting, the discussions Akpabio had with Yahaya Bello that night to eliminate me. And
to what extent? For what purpose?
Let's say this. Let's ask the Senate President, why in the first instance did he withdraw my security, if not to make me vulnerable to attacks? Right time and in the right space, I will present the evidence that I have. But let me say this. While I was illegally suspended, I was not given a chance for the matter to be investigated. And then the committee that was set up, which was headed by Senator Neda Emaswen, they did not invite me. The first time the invitation was sent out, which was on the 5th, that was the very day I submitted the petition. There was a court order that the committee should not sit for 72 hours, but explained to the court the reason why I should face that committee. They went ahead, had the session, had the meeting, came up with the suspension, and there were also complaints by some senators that their signatures it was the attendance sheet that was used to endorse the report and not the senators themselves, which also amounts to the report being fraudulently conducted, which also again means my suspension is void ab initio as well. So a whole lot of irregularities surround my suspension. I'm going to tell people, stand up to bullies, find the courage to speak your truth.
Stand up to bullies. Stand up to bullies and find the courage to speak your truth. That's what Natasha Akpoti said. Stand up to bullies. Speak your truth. She said she's a political reformer who is constantly creating awareness. And then she's starting to gain new set of leadership followership, who believes that leadership can be better and can increase. And this is part of what we've been talking about on this channel. We've been talking about that awareness. And you might think that we're not making any sense, but I guarantee you over time, a lot of people will come to accept that that's the truth. You know, I know the corruption thing has gone on for too long, but changes often take time. And this sort of mindset change that we're bringing on this channel, like I said before 2027, we would have done a lot of work. So it's a long run. It's not a quick, short marathon. I'm doing this content today about the lessons learned from this Natasha Akpoti failed recall. I know a lot of people would have talked about the story, INEC failed, the people failed, but I wanted to bring more insight into this recall. And I want you to follow me through and answer part of the questions as well. So watch till the end. And if you're meeting this content for the first time, please like, share, and subscribe. And also participate in the comment section. If you're watching and you've been following us for a while and you've not yet subscribed, please do so. Again, watch this to the end. There are a few points I made note of as well. And again, like I said, this is lessons learned from Natasha Akpoti's failed recall. The things I think she did well. She thought ahead. She thought ahead of the plans of the adversaries. I want to call the likes of Akpabio, Yahaya Bello Ododo as adversaries. The Senate leadership as adversaries because they have to make sure that they don't make a comeback so she cannot tell a different story. But she thought about the fact that she had to act faster and ahead of them. So one thing that she got right, and part of the lessons we've learned is that we have to think ahead. And in thinking ahead, rather than driving on the road, now she has the means. And rather than driving on the road, she flew in the helicopter. And that did a good work for her because if she had not gotten that gathering, who says that, and who knows whether INEC would have not carried on with the recall. But because of the mammoth crowd they saw around her, they knew they had no choice, had no chance. They had to get rid of that fake recall. You know, littered with forged signatures. Even INEC could not get that amount of numbers in the course of gathering or during the election. But she also said something. She said she's a political reformer. She educates others. And that's what we are doing on this channel. We're educating people to see that leadership can be better. That you cannot, if you demand little, you will get little. But if you demand more and the best, you will get the best. That's why today you can see we're being led by the worst of us, not the best of us. That's why you can see the kind of leadership we have in our executive, in our legislature, in our judiciary. The worst of us have assumed power. The worst of us have assumed authority, and they're making laws to clamp us down. They're making laws that are not suitable for us. And they're using government forces to exert on us. That's why when you speak up, you get clamped down. Do you know how many people have spoken up against the Inspector General of Police and been locked up? So she educated others. But another thing she did as well, she got at some information as to what they wanted to do, and she preempted them to stop them from doing what they wanted to do by saying they wanted to kill her. What happened then? They stopped. That's why we keep talking. They want to rig the election come 2027. We've seen the hands play out already. We'll see what is happening in Rivers State. And we're calling it out so that everyone would now start to act as well and saying the plan is not going to be any different from what they did in 2023. They're going to want to rig the election as well again. The state of emergency in Rivers State, the degree of catastrophe happening in Edo State, the one they're going to push towards Bayelsa. You can see all the hands playing right now. All it's towards 2027. So we all have to now start preempting and say, this is their plan. Let's start working towards, stopping those plans. Another lesson we learned as well is the Constitution. That recall. Many people didn't know that we could recall our senators. So now we know. So I'm asking you, go and check your Constitution and see what you can find out. It means you can call for the people from Akwa Ibom, where the Senate president is from and his constituency. They can recall them back. The Senate leadership, they can recall them back. I know they'll stop it. I know they'll use the INEC to say it doesn't meet the requirement. But as long as it is legitimate, they can take it to court and say, no, we signed it and the people are there. So we have seen that we have to know the Constitution. And it's by saying that, that's why a lot of people, that's why they stopped. But also remember, we deserve good leadership. That's what she said. The people that trooped out to come support her is because they've seen some good work that she's done, even better than what her predecessors have done. So they came out. That means you deserve good leadership. Lawmakers are meant to use that position to enact laws that are good, but also use that position to jostle for progress in their place of origin or in for their constituents. And she mentioned that some of the things that she's done, she's used not because the Senate gave her the task, the support, but she had to use that time, that influence that she has, that position they has to make sure she brings some form of development. She mentioned the road. She built the road by herself. Remember that road that also when Yahaya Bello destroyed? So we deserve good leadership. You deserve good leadership. That's another lesson learned as well. Create awareness that leadership standard can be better. So we need to create that awareness. We've also learned that these people will destroy the system just to keep them in power. That's why we must constantly speak up. And we know right now, plus that, they will use the judiciary. They will use the law court to help them destroy the system so that they can remain in power. Remember, she said that the suspension, it wasn't as though they asked the people who were present that whether or not they supported it. They only just used the signature that they were present to say these were the people that supported the suspension. So he not realized that more or less it's more like a forged signature, just like they did in the recall. You can see all the irregularities that happened. Another thing she said, speak up, stand up to bullies. Our politicians have been bullies for so long. They bullied us. It's about time we spoke up. It's about time we rose up as a people and say it's enough. I've just said it again, demand it from your leaders. For the short time we've been doing this, I know how much of those, if you look at the comment section, you will see a lot of people who sometimes do not really like that, we're speaking up. But we have to speak up. I'm saying you deserve a better leadership. You deserve a better country that works for you. For so long, we've accepted mediocrity as leadership. Mediocrity from presidency, from the legislature, from the judiciary. And now this whole thing is affecting everybody. Remember, the former DG of the NYC was kidnapped for about 45 days or thereabout. He said he almost got eaten up by hyenas. So imagine if hyenas meet these people on the road, and those are the people in authority. They had the time to do work. A former DG of the NYC kidnapped. So this destruction is not going to be left for the poor man alone. It's for everybody. Unless we spoke up, unless we speak up, unless we said, no, it's enough. So speak up. Let's stand up to the bullies that have actually held us down for so long in the presidency, in the judiciary. There's a lot of talk about the judiciary being captured. We need to start speaking them and calling them. If they capture them, we have to help free them so they can get their judicial independence. She made a bold assertion. She said, put Yahaya Bello plus Ododo on the same ticket, I will beat them. That's the amount of boldness you can have in your people. Obviously, you have to then say INEC will do what INEC does, its own magic. But it's because of you and I, people like you and I spoke up and kept calling out this whole thing. When Natasha was suspended, not because we knew her, not because we are from our constituency, but we knew that an irregularity to one is an irregularity to all. And when they start like that, they just continue without, when they don't get punished, they will continue. They get emboldened. But we have to do it. She said one thing that's important to her is for her to stay alive because dead men don't tell tale. We have to keep speaking because these guys will clamp down on anybody they find as long as you speak up. Let's don't keep quiet. These are some of the lessons I was able to gather from all of the statements she made in this interview. But you can see that today she has some smiles on her face, better than the interview she had at Arise when she did a Rise interview as well. So you can see the rest in her spirit, in her face, but the support of our people as well. Let's don't give up now. This is why we're creating this awareness. We want you to be aware. We want you to be part of this channel so we can help continue to push out content like this to say Nigeria can be better and we deserve better leadership. As always, if you've not yet subscribed and you've been following us, please like, share, and subscribe. If you're meeting this content for the first time, please share, like, and also subscribe. Participate in the comment section. Let us know what you think. This is I'm thinking about my takeaways and lessons learned from the Natasha Akpoti field recall. What do you think? Is there more that you can chip in? Let's do that in the comment section. As always, God bless you. Thank you, and bye for now.